All right, so yeah, we're gonna finish this up. Let me preface this by saying, so I'm gonna go over the strats that I know how to do in these rooms. There are more beginner-friendly strats that I am not familiar with. I know that for a fact. I never ran KPDR, so I know that there are some beginner-level strats similar to that. One major difference is that we have screw attack, and the Metroids won't grab you while you have screw attack active, so like that's different. But Room 1, for example, is a strat that I've carried over from RBO, and it's harder than what I see like Zost and people do. It's easier for me, but in theory, it's actually harder. But yeah, we're gonna go room by room here. I'll talk about as many strats as I can, and we'll finish this up. So when you come down this elevator, this is not one of the situations where you want to buffer a spin jump, because it will make it so that you bonk this right here. You can either run off and do a down back, or you can do a short run and a short hop like that. Doing the short hop is optimal, as far as I know. You just want to do a short hop, kind of weave down through, open the door, land on the edge here. It's not hugely specific where you land, just make sure that it is on the edge, and then run through the door. Okay. Just do that. For this first room, what you want to do is you want to run off and shoot a beam as you're passing this right here. Okay? That will freeze that first Metroid. And from there, you want to switch to supers. And then immediately switch to power bombs. By the way, I piano all of these rooms. I would highly recommend getting used to either a piano grip or a claw grip for these, because fat fingering these is really, really hard. So you shoot your super and then you switch to power bombs, which allows you to do one more plasma shot as you jump off the edge here. Okay? And then you can use another super missile to kill that Metroid. What I do here, during this jump, I actually move my left thumb over to select. Reposition this camera a little bit. Whoa. Sorry. So, I move my left thumb over to select. And the reason you can do that is because after Samus jumps, you don't need to continue holding forward on the D-pad, right? So I move my left thumb over to select, and I hold select so that I can do an auto deselect on this super. It sounds really hard and awkward, but it's really not that bad. This next part is where things get difficult. The way that I do it is different, because I actually do a space jump like this, and that involves pressing jump and then shooting your super. So I do it with my pointer finger. I slam down on both jump and shoot, which for me is B and Y. And I hit B, like, when I do that, I hit B like one frame before I hit shoot, and so that's why the space jump works that way for me. But if, for example, you have jump on A and shoot on Y, that might make it more awkward, because you're sitting there holding, like, B on your middle finger or something, and then you're trying to jump and shoot anyway. So yeah, that's kind of why I say, like, some of these strats may translate better for you than others. But as far as how I do it, so like I said, shoot here, switch to supers. Immediately after shooting your super, switch to power bombs. Jump, auto deselect the super. space jump and shoot that auto-deselected super. And then, basically, you do shoot, tap, tap, shoot for that last Metroid, just with an angle down. Like that. And it helps to kind of practice these motions stationary sometimes. Shoot, tap, tap, shoot. Okay? Shoot, switch, shoot. Shoot, switch, shoot. Shoot, switch, shoot. The nice thing about shooting a super after a regular beam is I don't think there's a cooldown, and if there is, it's really hard to hit it. There is a cooldown after the super. So if you shoot a super, and then you try to release a shot, it doesn't come out immediately. So you need to watch out for that. That's something that I used to run into here, actually. I would kill this Metroid late, like this, and then I would switch. And sometimes, I don't know if I can even do it. There we go. Sometimes that would happen where the shot wouldn't come out. So make sure that you shoot this first Metroid pretty early with your super to avoid the cooldown issue. Okay. Alright. If you do this the way that I do it, you're going to end up in the acid right here. That's okay. Especially for 100%, that's okay, because we have a ton of health and Gravity Suit protects us. Just jump out of the acid, like this, land on the corner, run forward. I release dash briefly there, and then you need to time an angle up shot with your plasma, and then just like with this one right here, which I can't do anymore for some reason. There we go. It's a shoot, tap, tap, shoot again. Except you're angling up. I do all angles in this room on the D-pad. So I angle up here on the D-pad. I angle down here and then up on the D-pad. And then I angle up here on the D-pad. So like I said, this is another shoot, tap, tap, shoot. And then you want to switch to power bombs and shoot again immediately. Just shoot forward. That will open the door. And then before you actually enter that door, you want to deselect power bombs. So again, you're jumping into the next room. And after you jump, you can reach your left thumb over again and push select, assuming you have item cancel on select. Okay. That'll bring you into this room with no items selected, and it'll carry you all the way over to the left side right here. If you do happen to get grabbed by a Metroid, there's two things here. So one, it won't hurt you while you have screw attack enabled, and two, it might be better to just group at that point. If you're not familiar with how to group, I talk about that on my PRKD tutorial. Now, the other strat that you might see some people do is like this. If I can even do it. This is kind of what Zos does, except he does it way better than I do. Like that. I can't even do it, man. So yeah, you do an up jump, and you shoot the Metroid as you're jumping up. And then Then you deselect or you switch to power bomb. Like this. So you jump up, you shoot, you kill the last Metroid like that, and then you shoot and run through. Try it a couple more times, but I don't have faith in my ability to do this correctly, to be quite honest. You can go slower. I think Chabo has a strat here where you just go slower and you angle up shot the Metroid. Yeah, like that. And it's really, you only lose like 30 frames doing it that way, so worth considering. Ah, so close. Anyway, so that's room 1. There is one other strat that you can do here that QD discovered a few days ago. And I'm not sure if I can even do it. I think... Yeah, so it's something like that. Basically, you're getting enough speed here where you can actually clear the acid completely. Oh, you need to... That's right. So the hard thing about this is that you need to aim down before you hit the ceiling. And then you need to angle down and shoot the Metroid. And then land on the corner like this. And then the rest of it is the same. That can get you a sub 5-second room, which is pretty crazy. Alright, one last thing that you might see some people do. I'm personally really bad at it, but you can shoot this Metroid from the top with a missile and kind of bounce it down like that. And what that will do is make it so that you can grab more of its drops. It is a little slower because you have to jump to do it, but if you're like super low on supers or something, it might be worth it. So. Alright. Room 2. Okay. So, the faster way to do this room, you hold aim down as you come in, you shoot twice, you shoot 2 supers, like this. You switch to power bombs or you deselect, and you can jump and mock ball through the door. Alternatively, and this is what I like to do, you can select twice onto Grapple Beam instead. And you can grab the drops from this Metroid, like that. Then what you do is you jump, you deselect, again with your left thumb, you land and you run through the door. As for time difference there, I have a comparison video that I can show. You give me just a minute. So pretty much the same. Okay? Watch that one more time. Alright. So, I like to run through the door. You can also mock ball. If you do a mock ball, you're going to want to spring across this gap. Like this. So you just spring across. If you decide to grapple to grab the drops, you will need to do the jump and the run through. And do that sort of a thing. Also, I just screwed us up, so we have to start over. It's not that big of a deal, but... Once you kill the Metroids, they won't respawn. So... Sometimes, whether it's because you're not as good at the fast strat, or because you need drops, you may find yourself wanting to group these. So there's two different ways you can do this. So you can do that sort of thing. The important thing is that you don't shoot up. Since you have Plasma Beam, it'll pierce and it'll freeze that second Metroid up high. And the whole goal of this strat is to group them together. So you need to do that sort of a thing if you're gonna land next to the door. You need to angle up and then shoot up. The nice thing about that is then basically, so you can just shoot, you can actually hold jump here the whole time. So press jump right here as you're falling. And then you can switch. I probably would piano this if I were doing it this way. I'm not sure how though. But basically you want to switch to supers, shoot the Metroids with one super, and then you can just continue aiming up and shoot the door, and it will open the door, and then you can deboost off the Rinka immediately that way. Alternatively, and this is how I usually do it, you can land on the left corner here and do an angle shot, like this, and then just do a short jump into the door after you open it, and deboost through that way. Okay. One other alternative if you're bad at the deboost, which I completely understand because I've been bad at the deboost since I started playing this game, you can just shoot the door and run through, but that bottom Rinka is going to hit you on your way. And so what I like to do instead is I do an angle down shot. You actually do need to shoot it twice, otherwise it's just going to freeze and be in your way. So you need to angle down and shoot twice. That is pretty slow in comparison to the other strats, so I would recommend only learning to do this if you're trying to do the deboost and you just can't get it for whatever reason. At that point, you may want to consider that like super basic strat. Again, the fastest way through this room is like that. Alright, room 3. So, this first Metroid's pretty easy. You land on the corner, shoot, tap, tap, shoot. Okay? Shoot, tap, tap, shoot. From there, I actually, since I'm pianoing, I reach my right index finger over and I push select so that I can continue holding dash and forward on the D-pad. So my ring finger's holding dash, my left thumb is busy holding forward on the D-pad. Some people will claw select with their left index. I'm really bad at that, so that's why I actually just reach my right index over and press it. As you're passing this red thing right here, that's when you want to do another shoot, tap, tap, shoot. But the super that you shoot there is a little bit delayed. You want to do it just as you're running off the edge of the platform. Like that, okay? From there, I do another one of those space jump shots. And the easiest thing to do is to just do an angle down super shot. and then run through the door like that. You can also do the spring ball that you saw me do like that. And if you're feeling super aggressive, and I may or may not be able to show this, but it was in my comparison video that I showed earlier, you can actually shoot like that. Oh, wow. First try. Nice. You can shoot the door open as you're falling. But here's the kicker. So remember how I said how after a super missile, Samus can't shoot again immediately? What that means is that you need to shoot this super as early as possible, which means doing that set of inputs very quickly. Otherwise, oh, and also you need to kind of delay your last plasma shot so that you're doing it a little bit later so that it doesn't get eaten by the cooldown. Okay? Wow, I can't believe I'm doing that so easily today. Assuming you do that, then you do want to spring ball through the door. And that will change the next room just a little bit. So we'll talk about this room this way, and then we'll talk about it the normal way. So you'll probably still have power bombs selected if you come in this way. So make sure you push select to deselect them. And then you want to unmorph just after your bounce as you're passing this corner. Samus will sort of get sucked down like that. From there, what I like to do is do an angle down shot and a down shot. That will freeze the first and second Metroid. And then this last Metroid, it's actually pretty cool. If you kill it early enough, after shooting your plasma beam, it will open that door for you automatically. Your plasma beam will still be connected with the door. And the door will open. Pretty nifty. Of course, you do have to shoot really fast to do that. It's no big deal if you don't. I do recommend grabbing that last set of drops. So you want to, like, jump into the door. At least a short hop. Okay. If you're a sane person and you're just running in, this doesn't change that much, but it does change a little bit. So you still want to jump, or you still want to do angle down and down, but you want to do a short hop around the corner, the first corner, because if you just run off, that's quite a bit slower. As a general rule, and I think I mentioned this like way back in the beginning of the tutorial, maybe not, but as a general rule, if you can jump around a corner instead of running off a ledge, it's probably going to be faster. And then the last thing I'll say, if you're really low on supers, you may want to actually group these. And what that looks like, you can jump around this corner, then you want to run all the way over to the left wall, do a soft morph, roll all the way over to the corner, unmorph on the door, and shoot the Metroids all together like this. And then you can kill them all with one super. Okay. These hoppers are always going to do the same thing when you enter. I will try to show that, but sometimes the practice ROM screws it up. So this first one, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. Okay, so it does 3 of those big hops. 1, 2, 3, and then it does a short hop like that. Okay, so you want to wait until after its second one there. You can run pretty early here. Just keep in mind that it is going to do a big hop, so it will run into you if you don't jump to get screw tack frames. And then the nice thing about 100% is we do have screw tack, so they're never going to hit us. You have a couple options here. You can shoot early like that, which from what I understand, doing a downward deboost that way is optimal. I haven't taken the time to test this properly, actually, and that's my bad. But if you do that, you want to shoot kind of late, because if you're not shooting late, then what will happen is the hopper will eat your shot. Okay? So you want to shoot kind of late. This is all screwed up now, but whatever. Alternatively to the deboost, you can do a space jump, shot, jump through the door like that. Okay. Hey, Kano. Thank you so much for the 32 months of Tier 1 subs, dude. I really appreciate it. In this room, the main thing is that you want to make sure you don't shoot right as you run through the guy, or it's going to slow your shot down, like you just saw for me. So it's probably best to just shoot a little bit early to make sure that you get that speed on the shot. That will allow you to just jump through the door. If you get the slow shot, which I may or may not be able to show again, you're going to bonk the door. See that? So shoot a little early, or even shoot a little bit late. Just don't shoot right as you run through them. Do a space jump over to the left. And then wait for the baby Metroid. Okay, I'm going to talk about 2 different skips here. Just 2. We're not going to go over space jump skip because it's been a while since I did it, and I don't remember it very well. Shoot. I was talking and I forgot what I was doing. We are going to turn music off because, once again, this music is really loud and it will interfere with my beautiful voice. So I'll probably put background music in when I edit it. But basically, for the baby skip that people do in PRKD, which is most consistent, what you want to do is, after the Metroid flies up, it's always going to do this thing where it brings its claws in like that. Right there, when the claws reach their innermost point, that's when you want to start running. Okay? And then you jump. After you bonk the ceiling, you want to aim down. So make sure you're not aiming down before the ceiling bonk. It might be okay either way, I don't remember for sure, but I do remember for sure that I don't aim down until after I bonk the ceiling. Doing this is going to swing the baby around to the left. And from there, it's just a matter of kind of practicing the baby manipulation. So it's going to orbit around you like this. You can do this literally forever and it will never catch you as long as you don't mess up. Okay, so basically, the idea here is that we want to continue doing that to avoid the baby while also moving further left so that we can get over here and get through the room. Okay? You want to do an angle down shot after the first jump to clear that little dust ripper on the floor. Like that. if you don't do an angle down shot, you're going to land on him. And that can totally screw you up. So either do an angle down shot or a down shot. I ran a little early there. Still would have been okay, but it threw my timing off. Even if you do land on him, as long as you do an angle down shot, you should be able to get to the floor again in time that you can do the baby orbit. Okay. For the jump after the angle down shot, we want to shoot left. Okay? So first jump, shoot left. You want to shoot in the middle and clear the moss blocks right there. Okay? Then, on your next jump, do an angle up shot. You need to do it kind of early, because if you do it late, the baby's going to eat your beam. Okay? So if we shoot this late, the baby ate the beam and it didn't clear the moss. Then what you want to do is position yourself eventually so that you are on this little weed right here, right next to this moss. You want to be positioned on this weed. Even if you clear the moss, that's totally fine. Just position yourself on this weed. And then as the baby is orbiting back around, you want to jump morph. Up into the ceiling and hold left. And that's it. I know that makes it look really easy, and I also remember when I was learning this how hard it was. The real thing about the baby skip is that it just comes down to practicing the movement so that you're comfortable with manipulating it so that it doesn't grab you. You'll see some people do a shot right here because they're worried about the dust guys up there at the top getting in their way, or they'll do a shot like that. That generates so much lag, it's really not worth it. Maybe you find it easier to manipulate the baby that way, but that's just a matter of practice. So this is me telling you, never ever do this, okay? It makes me very sad when I see people normalize their baby skip by doing that. Okay, so that's the PRKD skip. It's super consistent. Just put the practice in and you'll do great. Okay. Next up, we have the spring ball skip. This is much harder. It can be made consistent, but there are a lot, and I mean like dozens or maybe even hundreds of nuances to the way that this can go. Okay, so you want to run just as the baby starts its movement with its claws. You don't want to anticipate it. If you run before, you're going to bonk this wall. And if you run as early as possible, you may not bonk the wall, but it actually screws up the way that the baby manips to move around you. And also, the screen doesn't scroll quite as far, which means you have to do a really late shot to make it work at all. And that will also, it will cause more lag too, if you do it that way. So it's not that it's impossible, but I actually recommend, and the thing that sucks about this is I can't say like, you know, normalize it by, you know, counting 1/1000 or anything like that, because it's such a small detail. It is what it is, and you will need to kind of get a feel for it. And I hate saying that, because everything in this game can be made more consistent by visual cues, audio cues, Samus, positioning cues, which is, a visual cue but slightly different. There are so many different ways that you can normalize strats in this game, but every once in a while there's just something that comes along that is feeling based. And the start here is one of those things. I've tried to normalize it by turning right and then going as the claws start moving. I've tried jumping at a certain part and then running. I've tried so many different things, and the only thing I can say is you want to start running shortly after the claws start moving. And then I swear this makes a difference for me. I don't know why, but I swear it does. I do one single arm pump after I start running, okay? Okay. Everything else in this skip is technically cue-based. A lot of the time when I do it, I end up doing it based on feeling, but there are technically cues for all of these. So, you want Samus to do her first space jump when you're around the middle of the screen height. And you can bonk this scree to normalize her jump height, and there are ways to make that consistent, but it will cause a lot of lag. And personally, I find that harder to purposely bonk the scree. And so what I do instead is I try to focus on doing a short space jump, again around the middle of the screen. Also, I didn't even mention this. My apologies. You want to run as far forward as you can before you jump. So right around here is where you want to jump. If you jump early, that's not to say that it's dead. You can still make it happen with an early jump. We got grabbed there, but it's possible for sure. But I personally find it way more consistent if you get a late jump. That was kind of in between. Okay, so do a late jump, start running as the claws, shortly after the claws start moving. I do a single arm pump, late jump. So what's the next thing? Like I said, you want to do a short space jump when Samus is around the middle of the screen. And then you want to shoot your beam as the left side of the baby is passing that dust screen. Okay? That's very important. You might think, oh, that's not that important, I'll shoot later and it'll be fine. It's not about shooting at a specific point to break the moss in a way that works. When you shoot, you are physically changing Samus's hitbox, which makes the baby advance towards Samus in a different way, because the center, I assume it's going for the center of her hitbox. If not, it's going for the top or the bottom or something like that. And it moves. It moves between the time that you are in spin and when you shoot. Okay? So that's why it's so important to kind of normalize when you shoot, because it changes the way that the baby is going to be flying at Samus. And that is everything in this skip. That is the biggest key to the spring ball skip, by far. After you shoot, you have two options. You can either hold jump, you morph, and you can either hold jump, which again is, it's not going to work with this particular setup, but it might work with something that you find. Maybe you decide to shoot later, or something like that. Maybe you space jump lower. I don't know. But if you hold jump like that, Samus will automatically bounce. Or with this particular setup, what you want to do with the run late, jump late, short space jump, shoot when the left side of the baby passes the dust screen. With this setup, you actually want to do a very short mock ball, and then spring ball just before the dust ripper on the floor. From there, you just hold your spring ball. There's no other inputs that you need to do. You just hold left and spring ball. So, again, there will be times that this doesn't work and you know exactly why. There will also be times that it doesn't work and you don't know exactly why. I think I said that right. Sometimes you will know, sometimes you won't know. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, I ran too late, or oh, I shot too late, or oh, I springballed too early or too late. Or, you know, maybe you just bonk the ripper. That happens sometimes. But I promise you, see, like there I probably shot too early, or I ran too early, one of the two. I promise you, if you put in, if you put in the time to find consistency in what you're doing, you can find consistency in this strat. It's probably never going to be 100%. It's probably never going to be 99% the way that, you know, some runners get to the point of that with the PRKD skip. But it's, for me, it's consistent enough that I don't question whether I'm going to do it in a PB pace run. Even if I was like 20 seconds ahead and I could still PB with a PRKD skip, I'm not going to compromise on that, because I have enough confidence in my consistency that I know that I can do it. Whether or not I actually get it is another thing. But I know that I can, right? So, one more thing. I personally don't like this, but it's something that Behemoth found that's working for him lately. He actually purposely bonk the scree here, but he does it out of a bigger hitbox, and then he goes. So like he'll aim up and hit it, for example. It does cause more lag, and you need to make sure that when you shoot, you're already holding left again, or else Samus will lose her momentum, which will not happen in the other strat. You also need to make sure that you shoot in the right direction. And you probably also need to make sure that you like shoot immediately or something like that. But that is something else to consider, is basically breaking out of spin to manipulate when Samus's hitbox hits that scree, if you do decide you want to normalize that. Okay, one last thing here. If you go too slow, which can happen with certain setups, the baby might actually attach onto Samus in the door transition. And if that happens, you're going to get permaslowed, like this, okay? You can break out of permaslow by saving at the save station and then resetting your game. That's the only way that you can get out of it. I don't remember exactly how much time it loses, but I'm not 100% confident in this, but I don't think it's any worse than, for example, getting grabbed like this and waiting. Again, I'm not sure on that. One thing I will say is if you have enough ammo, like we do here, it is probably better to let the baby drain you down and then use a crystal flash at Mother Brain. If you have to refill, I don't know exactly how it works out, but okay. That is Spring Ball Skip. I hope it was helpful. See, so like here we might actually have been grabbed. Sometimes it doesn't look like you got grabbed, but the baby was actually advancing toward you fast enough that it does grab you after the screen is black. But we're good, so. Alright, once you land, you want to unmorph, immediately hop forward and shoot down, and then go through this door. Okay? Open it with a super. Honestly, in 100%, I would never use missiles on it unless you're refilling. You want to do space jumps across this room, pretty basic. Just shoot this eye door as early as you can. Don't try to shoot it too early, of course, or it won't die. You can do a moonfall into this room, and it is faster. So like that. Even if you do the moonfall like this, it's still faster. But you can save some frames by facing left, aiming up with L and R, shooting, and then you can ironically, Samus can moonwalk, but she can't move forward when you're holding L and R. See that? So you can actually be holding both L and R and moonwalk, and then just release R or L, whichever one is more comfortable for you, and do your moonfall. You asked me that yesterday, Berserker, and I answered yes. Moonfall. And then you can do an angle shot with your super. I just missed it. I hardly ever miss it. It's a little scary, but it's not as hard as you might think. You just want to turn left while you're still in spin. If you break spin and you turn, you'll fall slower. So turn left while you're still in spin. Gosh dang it, dude. And then do an angle down shot after you pass this corner right here. Okay? You do want to jump through this door, because that will fix the door transition. You don't want to jump super high, but just running through it is pretty bad too. It's a 67 frame transition, so even if you do jump super high, it's still better. It's a 52. And also, when being already airborne in here means that you can do the strat in here faster, so. Silly Zeni. Let's turn the music back on, at least for a minute. Okay, so try to jump midway through the door. Hold jump just briefly as you enter this room. We want Samus to be far enough left here that she activates the bottom Rinka. And if you are too far to the right, then that won't happen. So that's why I say just hold jump briefly as you come in here, just to make sure that it is going to be activated. Then what you want to do, since you have screw attack, and how do I say this nicely? If you're running 100%, you should learn how to do the down back zep skip. You just should. Pausing specifically to unequip screw attack is a huge waste of time. So don't do it. Just learn how to do the down back zep skip. I have other tutorials on this. I'm going to give a crash course on it right now. So, land down here. jump up to the left. When you jump up, aim down. You want to pause briefly before you jump up, okay? As you jump up, aim down and hold down. That will make the Rinka hit you. Like this. No, because screw attack resets your iframes. So if you try to do it this way, you can't because you don't have iframes. That was kind of weird. So, you know, this is the normal method. And see that? I did make it in there once, but I think I got hit by a turret, which knocked me forward or something like that. But yeah, so you need to do a down back Zeb skip. And the way that Zeb skip works, if you look closely, when Samus lands on the Rinka, if it worked correctly, she'll be slightly inside of the wall. If she's standing, it did not work. You want her to be crouching, like that. Okay? I guess I should actually clarify. If you push forward, she will stand up. But if you're still holding the down back position, so you can actually hold the down back the entire time. See how I didn't actually release it there? So I'm not releasing down and right there, and she's staying in position. Like that, okay? So take your time if you need to. Don't take too long, but make sure that she is crouched. And then here's a really nice thing about 100%. We have Grapple Beam, and when you grapple after a Zeb skip, it actually zips Samus up to the floor, which in this case is the bottom of the platform. So you don't even need to jump up and through like you would in PRKD, for example. Just switch to grapple and hold forward, which in this case is left. Hold forward and she'll run straight through. As far as the actual down back, so I'm going to say this because I've said it in all my tutorials and people continue to tell me, this is what made it work for me. So when you do the down back, make sure that you have a good, strong grip on down and right, okay? Like, I mean, press it super hard if you need to, because that is the main thing, is making sure that Samus is still down backing when she lands, okay? If she's not, so like if you just do aim down, for example, then she generally isn't going to land on it. It is possible to do a non-down back Zeb skip by hitting the Rinka, aiming down, and just timing your shot perfectly. I think it's like frame perfect, and maybe subpixel dependent though. The down back Zeb skip will always, in theory, should always work as long as you are holding down back correctly and timing your shot correctly. Now here's the important thing about timing your shot. You cannot shoot too early, or the Zeb is going to eat your shot. Now if you look, the plasma beam comes out of Samus's cannon above the bottom of it, okay? So don't use like the bottom of her cannon as a reference for when to shoot, because if you shoot too early, then it's going to hit the Zeb. And that's when things go all sorts of screwy, okay? So you want to shoot kind of late, just before you land. It's not a terribly small window. I think it's like 5 frames or 7 frames or something like that. So it's not too bad, but just keep that in mind. All right. So what if you can't down back zeb skip? Or what if you miss? You know, what if you go for it and you're super good at it, but you miss? You have 2 options here. But we're going to talk about if you miss first. If you miss... Oh crap, we missed. You can wait for a turret to shoot at you, and then do it. Basically... So, we're gonna jump here. Okay. The other Rinka came. That will happen sometimes, where the other Rinka comes before any turrets do. And you can still do it that way. Okay. Sometimes you'll get lucky, and a turret will shoot. And you can also do down back from the turret. Sometimes the turret will not shoot at you for a million years. But it is possible to do the down back from a turret shot, okay? Alright. Maybe, like I said, you can't do the down back, or you miss, and then you wait for the second Rinka, and you miss again, and then this Rinka is out of position, and you don't know what to do. You can actually, so you can kill this Zeb with 4 supers, okay, or 11 missiles. And then you can run forward, drop down here, shoot this Rinka, and do a spin jump onto it. And Samus is going to, this is like free, by the way. She's going to clip inside of this right here. And then from here, what you can do is you can morph twice, or you can spring ball up into it. So let's say that you decide to do this with supers, right? Oops. So you drop down here, you shoot it, you spin jump onto it. You can either morph twice and roll through, or since we have spring ball, you can just spring up through. This is a million times easier than the down back zeb skip, for sure. I'm not going to deny that. But it's also quite a bit slower. It's actually optimal in GT Classic because it can make it so that you can do a pauseless Mother Brain fight. But in 100%, it is, you know, I want to say it's like a couple seconds slower or something like that than just doing the down back optimally. Especially because if we're spending 4 supers on it, that's going to drastically, again, assuming that we don't have a million supers, going to drastically change how we do Mother Brain Phase 1. Because generally, we want to use all the supers that we have on her, up to about 9. Okay. Alright. As far as how to progress through this room, after you do the down back zeb skip. Why is this happening? I'm just being stupid, that's why. Come on. You want to jump and morph through that hole. Then you want to run along this platform and do space jumps here. And then you want to do a jump morph into that top hole. That is actually important if you're trying to be optimal. You can do the bottom, but it's going to make the Rinkas fly in different positions. And we actually want them to do what they'll do if we come in through the top. So, space jump, morph through the top. You want to shoot 6 missiles so that the tank is partially broken. I keep doing that, man. Another thing you can do here, and I think Behemoth does this instead of the space jumps, you can run and do a jump morph from this platform. So you can land here and do a jump morph like that. I think it's a little bit easier. I don't think it's faster. I'm not sure if it is slower or if it's about the same, but worth considering if you're having trouble with the space jumps. Alright, so... like I said, 6 missiles. That will break the tank. And then from there, you have 2 options. You can jump up and shoot down to kill the Rinkas like that. And then you want to shoot, again, depending on how many supers you have. You want to shoot... that was interesting. I believe it's 2 missiles. Oh, it's 3 missiles and 9 supers is what you want to do. Six, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That will break the glass completely and move us on past Mother Brain 1. Okay. The faster way to do this, instead of doing the jump, aim down, Rinka shot, like this, is if you can manage to get your 6 missiles in before you need to jump to avoid taking damage from the Rinkas, you can sit in the tank like this, and then you can shoot 3 missiles and all 9 of your supers, assuming you have 9. And it basically it does kill Mother Brain faster, but it also puts the screen in a position where it will scroll over faster. One of our missiles got eaten by a turret there, which is really frustrating. Okay. If you have less than 9 supers, it can still be optimal to sit in the tank. Come on. Basically what happens, oops, so you'll need 3 extra missiles per super, okay? So let's say, again, we would do 3 and 9, so let's do 6 and 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. There was a Rinka that hit us, or that should hit us, as it flies up through Samus while she's sitting in the tank. And that actually gives Samus iframes, longer iframes. Five, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Basically, the tile right here, this is a spike tile. So if you stand on it, Samus is going to get knocked back. And additionally, she'll run out of iframes really fast. Okay? Whereas if you get hit by Rinka, or Mother Brain herself, you have the full set of enemy iframes instead of spike iframes. Okay? So that's why it's really nice if the Rinka floats up through you while you're sitting in the tank. But as you just saw, you do have to kind of delay a little bit to make that happen. Or else what's going to happen is the glass is going to break and Samus is going to land on the spikes. And then it gets really awkward because you're standing up next to Mother Brain, you're constantly taking damage. Dude. And Mother Brain ignores iframes. And so you're trying to keep hitting her with missiles, right? Like, let's say that you even switch to supers, okay? It's still awkward, like, trying to run into her and shoot missiles and stay on the platform, because if you don't hold forward, what's going to happen is the spikes are actually going to knock you off of the platform. So if you just stop holding left, there's a chance that you're going to get knocked back like that, and then that's bad. Adamantium wants me to point out something, so I may or may not be able to recreate it. We can see. But if, by chance, you happen to be running into Mother Brain at the same time that the cutscene starts, like I said, she actually ignores iframes. Okay, so I didn't quite do it there. But if you're inside of Mother Brain during that pause, the game continues processing damage because Samus is inside of Mother Brain. And since she doesn't have... It's not RNG. Since she doesn't have iframes during that period of time, it's just going to do that damage every single frame, and then she dies. Scotty's here. It happened to him in his tournament race, so that's why it's being brought up at all. I mean, I can try and mash a couple more times. I already did that, and, you know, it didn't work. And it's not that I'm, like, not willing to try and force it to happen. It's just that, I'd rather, like, get on with the content, so... Oh, there we go. Oh, nope. Never mind. I mean, anyway. It's bad. You know, it's bad. So don't just run into Mother Brain like that. If you happen to come down here, probably the best thing to do is the PRKD strat, where you lay a bomb and then you freeze that bottom Rinka. The thing is, this is really laggy, especially because of Plasma Beam. But that is an idea. Okay, anything else that I want to cover before we cover Mother Brain, which is surprisingly complex, even in 100%. I don't think so. Okay. Alright, Mother Brain. Sorry, I really like this song, but if I leave this song on, it's gonna be bad. So. Okay. 20 plasma shots. This part of the fight is pretty straightforward, pretty basic. One thing that you should be aware of is that when she decides to catch up you, greatly changes how much time it's going to take. So if she catch-ups like right on the 20th shot, you're actually going to lose about 4 seconds, just because she's rude like that. You can't really manipulate when it's going to happen, but one thing you can do is if you'd rather she do French fries instead of onion rings, you can manipulate that by jumping. And I believe the French fry behavior is shorter than onion rings. I'm not sure if it changes when she's likely to start another attack or not. But like one of the worst things that can happen is that you get to 16 shots and then she decides to lay a meatball. Because meatballs take forever to explode. So I think that was on 17 shots that she did that, which is pretty okay. It's not the best, but... Okay, for stand-up glitch, you need to have at least 700 HP when she hits you with the Rainbow Beam. But you don't want too much HP either. So what we want to do here is, after we know that she's dead, we actually want to run into her to take damage all the way down to 700-ish, okay? So something like that. She does 60 damage per hit. She does 30 damage per hit, but usually you're going to be in contact with her for 2 frames, and she ignores iframes. So you can count on her doing 60 damage if you run into her like this. Okay? So if you're running at her, and then you get scared and you stop, okay, you're at 874. Run at her once, run at her twice, and you know you'll be in a good range there. Okay? You might see some people try to like inch toward her to take just 30 damage. That will work sometimes, but sometimes it will still do 60. So I prefer to just normalize it by running into her like this. Okay? So we're gonna get down to 700-ish. If you're lower than 700, you cannot do stand-up glitch. Alright, and then right here, the only thing that is going to make Samus stand up is by pressing up. Okay? So you want to press up immediately after she lands, and then run into Mother Brain until you're under 100 HP. So in this case, that would just be one solid bonk. If you had 184, it would be two solid bonks. Alternatively, you can try and get down as close to 0 as possible. This isn't necessarily optimal, but the lower your health is, the longer it's going to take the baby to fill Samus's health up, which is actually a big deal. So, and I'll talk about why. But before that, we're going to talk about manipulating Mother Brain here. So depending on when Samus is airborne during this cutscene, Mother Brain will have a faster cutscene or a slower cutscene. Ideally, you want to drop down right around there, shortly after she turns blue. And that will make her sit down more quickly. So if you look at the timer up at the top, and I'm going to talk about how you absolutely under no circumstances want to end up sitting crouched facing right, by the way. But if you look at the timer up at the top, that says 3:14:36. I updated the timer by opening my menu and closing it. Okay? So that time, it was 3:14:36, I think is what it said, and we did the manipulation there. So if we just stay airborne the whole time, don't make a fool of me, game. So we're gonna wait for the baby to stop shaking. That's when I did it before. 3:15:42. So that was an entire second of difference. And let's say that we just hang out on the floor. Sorry for the loud, annoying noise. $3:15:57. So again, you kind of want to drop down shortly after she turns blue. I count 12 of these groans that she does. 10, 11, 12. And then I drop down. $3:14:55. Okay? Alright, two other things. If you're standing on the floor when the baby comes in, the game will make Samus crouch like this. Okay? And don't wall jump or else you could soft walk. Or wall jump. Don't wall jump or else you could soft walk. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. I know that Samus can get stuck in these spaces right here, but that's, as far as I know, it's not actually related to wall jumping. Like if Samus is perfectly aligned with the top or bottom of where the Zeb was, when the baby comes in, she can get stuck on the wall. Alternatively, well, I'll move on and talk about this. So, the game is going to try to force Samus into another crouch when the baby goes into the ceiling. Like this. Okay? If you have forward momentum when that happens, and this is... Yeah, so Samus can slide like that, okay? So, first of all, you want to make sure you don't have that forward momentum. Second of all, you want to make sure that you're not facing right if Samus does get stuck in a crouch. This happened to me in a tournament qualifier. So we were able to get out of it there, but Samus can actually get stuck in this wall here from that slide, and if that happens, you won't be able to X-ray out of the crouch. If you do get stuck in a crouch, you can X-ray out of it in 100%, that's the nice thing. And then you can move around freely. But not if you're stuck in the wall. Also, if you're stuck facing right when the Mother Brain cutscene finishes, the game will chug very slowly. And I would take the time to show that, but I don't want to waste the entire time of the baby cutscene. So, we're going to talk about optimal stand-up here. So you can start doing damage to Mother Brain as soon as the baby detaches, or as soon as it stops shaking, rather. So right here. ideally, you want to get 39 shots in during this. The way that I like to do it is with 2 shots here, and then a 3rd shot. Okay, so I guess I should clarify. 1, 2, and then the baby's going to be rising up into the ceiling. 1, 2, so you want to do a short jump there. 1, 2, so that you don't get stuck on the floor. Did we get a host or something? I thought I heard something. Where are my applications? That's weird. I don't have stream labels open, so I can't see activity. Like a dummy. Behe with the frickin' 107 host. Thanks, man. Didn't come through on chat. Dude, stop stealing all my strats. Hodarubi actually posted something where if you're in the right position here, you can actually hit Mother Brain with Plasma. And you can do that right as the baby finishes, like this. And you can get a 3rd shot in before the crouch. But I don't remember the positioning exactly. And it seems you can get enough shots in this way without worrying about getting a 3rd shot in before the crouch. So I personally, I don't see a reason in risking it that way, but you can try it if you want to. So we're going to count to 39 here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, big jump, 21, and I screwed it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. When the baby detaches, you want it to be up here. And I'll show why. Also, like I mentioned, the lower your health is, the longer it will take the baby to fill Samus up. But you don't want to avoid the baby like that. Because, like I said, the longer it takes, well, I didn't say this, but the longer it takes for the baby to fill Samus's health up, the longer this cutscene is going to be. So you may actually kind of want to hang out here when the baby's about to attach on you. Like this. Gosh dang it, man. And you want to make sure that Mother Brain never misses onion rings, because missing onion rings will mean that she has to do an entire another cycle of onion rings to finish killing the baby. So I'm going to try to show this. Try not to avoid the baby like I just did. Personally, so I like to do 2 shots here and then do a big jump like this. And then I count the onion rings. Baby is dead after 10, so this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, like I said, we want to jump up here so that the baby detaches right around these 4 dots in the ceiling. And that will make it so that the baby flies back to Mother Brain significantly faster than she will otherwise. The trick is getting as many shots in as you can before you actually manip the baby like that. Because if you don't get enough shots in, then you're going to have to do more Hyper Beam shots. Okay, I'm going to focus on doing this for a minute. Ideally, after the 10th shot, you should be in the low 1400 health range, which is your last energy tank. Keep in mind, it doesn't matter how much you have in your reserves. Even if your reserves are 0, the baby will refill those instantly. So you want to start moving over to the right to jump up and get in position around the low 1400s if possible. And that's why I like to have as little health as possible starting the baby cutscene at Mother Brain. And remember, like I said, if you just run into Mother Brain like this, she's always going to do 60 and knock you back far enough that you don't need to worry about potentially running into her again, you know, on accident. Okay? Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Manip. Dead. Okay. Slow attachment at the beginning makes it easier to have time to swing right at the end for the detachment. Yeah, so if you can manipulate the baby to attach on Samus later, that is another alternative to what I just did. The thing is, I have a really hard time manipulating the baby consistently to not attach, based on how much health I'm trying to avoid. So I find it a lot easier to just try and focus on getting Samus's health as low as possible here. See, like, this is actually really bad, because now we're going to have to sit and wait, and I'll show that. We're going to have to sit and wait after the 10th set of onion rings for, like, I don't know, 3 seconds probably. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See how long the baby took to detach there? So yeah, assuming that you can get the baby to attach immediately, which is just a matter of basically being stationary when it comes to latch on, then being below 50 is a good range, yeah. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. If we're all the way down here when the baby detaches, did you see how long it took for it to get back to Mother Brain? Whereas if we're right there, it's almost instant. So that's why it's important that you kind of manipulate where the baby detaches. Again, if you're right about here, super fast. Alright. So now for this. After Mother Brain changes to this shade right here, I believe that's 35 shots. And then when she changes a shade again, after that, that's 39. So 36, 37, 38, 39, and see how she's still alive? One shot and she's dead, so that's 40. You don't want to do 40 whole shots, or this cutscene is actually longer than if you do 39 and just shoot her. Just shoot her one more time with the Hyper Beam. I've never timed it, that's just what I've been told, and I've never questioned it. So that's me being a bad speedrunner that isn't actually verifying the information. That's 2 shots, because I was not being optimal with my shots. 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. Okay. It's just slower, Shadow. It's just slower. One more thing to show here. 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. You do not want to be shooting when the game gives you Hyper Beam. It's not that big of a deal, and I'm going to show why. But still, you want to avoid doing it. Come on, game. Okay. So this can happen. Remember how I said earlier how the game will chug? If you don't do anything to stop this, the game will sit here and process, and it can take upwards of like 10 minutes to get through all this. The nice thing is you can actually get out of this by holding either select, or item cancel rather, or selecting like Grapple Beam, for example. So basically every time you see something move here, the game is processing 1 frame, okay? So if I hold item select, oh hey, nice, it actually undid it on missiles too. If I hold item select, then it will, you know, process on the next time the game processes a frame, it will do that. When I was facing right, crouched, and I was stuck, that didn't actually fix it, and I just had to wait until the game processed, and it took a long freaking time. So that's why I say you never, ever, 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 ever want to be facing right, stuck in a crouch. Because no matter what I did, I couldn't make the game finish processing. Personally, I like to just hold select, because if you are in a category that happens to have stand-up, like maybe you're doing a rando or something, and you're doing stand-up, but you don't have any missiles left and you don't have Grapple Beam, item select won't actually get you out of it, but item deselect always will. So I'm trying to show this one more time. Come on, game. Chug for me! You rude jerk. You jerky jerk. Alright, well I don't have time to keep doing this, unfortunately. Well, yeah, that's true, cutie, but I don't know. That probably is what it is. Anyway, so once you kill Mother Brain, you need to escape from the planet. So we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to be done. Can you believe it? I wonder how many hours total this tutorial is. I'm going to have to tally it up. Okay, so you want to do a full jump just after the word escape is finished typing out here. So, and you want to be holding left and angle down, or if you're Behemoth, I guess angle down on the D-pad. If you do that, you'll get through the door with a 3:00:00 timer, or at worst, if you slightly mistime it, you might get through it like a 57 or 59 or something. We were a little late there. Or 50, sorry, 95, 97, 99, something like that. So jump. Hold shoot here, and then you're going to need to shoot one more time. The later you shoot, the less lag it will generate. But if you shoot too late, you're going to bonk. You can shoot pretty much as late as you want, as long as you don't bonk that gate. Optimally, what you want to do is turn and unmorph, morph and unmorph through the door. Wow, that was... I did a quick drop and got stuck on the door. And you want to be on the right side. However, if you swing all the way to the left, don't go back to the right, because that's going to totally screw up your door transition. Okay, so that was a 75 frame door transition. So you just want to turn right after you fall off, and optimally you want to morph and then unmorph right as you're entering the door. But you don't want to unmorph too early, or you'll actually lose time. Assuming you got the unmorph, that's all you need to do in this room. Just hold right, aim down and shoot, and go through the door. If you didn't do the unmorph, you'll land, and you can either just run off and shoot down, or you can do a short jump and shoot down. Okay? In this room, you want to hold a shot and aim down. I don't know if it actually makes a difference killing this pirate or not, but who doesn't want to shoot a pirate with a hyper beam, right? Just make sure you aim down or you're going to bonk right here. That is a fast way to do this with a blue bomber strat. My cue for where to jump, and this isn't optimal, but it's easy compared to the optimal version, is on the background. If you look at the background, there are these like panels, these shaped panels. The right side of the second panel is where I jump. Okay, I do a speedball mock ball. During the speedball mock ball, I hold angle up. So see how I was holding R there? I release jump during the speedball mock ball so that I can repress it, obviously. And then from there, like you don't need to do anything except hold angle up. So you do need to press up to unmorph, since we have spring ball and you can't use jump to unmorph. But just hold angle up, and ideally you want to shoot the door kind of early so that you can hit the ceiling, bonk on the ceiling in the door frame, and go through. Even if you do this sort of a thing, it's still faster than doing a shine spark. That was a really bad shine spark, but hopefully you get the idea. But you know, maybe you're not comfortable doing blue bomber, and in that case, just shine spark up. There are no time constraints for when you press angle up during the speedball, as long as you're already morphed. As far as when to spring ball up, you want to do it after the corner. It's possible, if you time it correctly, to unmorph on the corner and still make it up, but it's a lot harder. See, so like that worked. But if you do it too early, you're gonna bonk, and then you'll lose it, and you'll have to, you know, do a short charge, do a shine spark, blah blah blah. Also, you don't want to hit the right wall on your way up, or you'll lose blue. So it's important that when you press up, you just press up and then you release the D-pad until you're ready to push right to go inside the door. Okay? Alright. Once you make it up, jump through the door. I like to do 3 wall jumps here. Some people prefer to do the PRKD strat, which is like this, if I can do it. 2 big wall jumps and shoot the pirate, and then you down grab onto this ledge. It's a little more laggy, I've noticed. It's not bad though. The main thing is you want to make sure that you don't try and wall jump below the pirate, which is actually really hard to do, but it is possible. If you do that, you're gonna... I swear I've done it before. Maybe I had a better exit coming out of the door or something. If you do that, basically, Samus is gonna lose her iframes and bonk, like that. Okay? So make sure that screw attack is active when you're hitting the pirates. Oh, that's probably what it was. Yeah, okay. So, if you decide that you're going to do a wall jump off of the little outcrop there, make sure that you turn back left immediately. Or just wall jump above it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You want to get onto this middle platform. And then what I like to do, I skip this little ledge right here. I've seen runners do it both ways, where sometimes they'll grab both. I like to just jump up to the top one. Like that. Run right, jump around this corner, run left, do a moonfall. Ideally, you don't want to jump here. You just want to turn and do the moonfall quickly. That can be kind of hard, so you might see some people do this sort of a thing, where they jump into position like that. There's nothing wrong with that, it's just a little slower. Or if you're not moonfalling, then what you want to do is jump and get around the corner. You want to shoot that pirate on your way down to reduce lag, but depending on when you shoot it, the shot might, well, okay. I think you're reducing lag, I don't know for sure, but also that pirate will be in your way when you're coming up if you don't shoot it, so. You want to shoot it, and you want to shoot kind of early, and I believe it will lag less. Though, I have seen it where people have shot it horizontally, and it didn't seem to lag at all. There's also been times when people shot it diagonally, and it didn't, etc. But, personally, I have best results with a diagonal shot kind of early. Like that. Okay, once you make it down here, you'll be tempted to jump up as early as you can. If you run just a little bit farther, Samus will get a higher jump. That looks about the same, but yeah. So there is that, and also, you know, maybe you're holding right and you land like this, or maybe you're further to the left. Anyway, jump up here. Behemoth actually does ledge grabs here. I don't remember exactly which way he goes, because I don't do them, but some people prefer the ledge grabs to the wall jump. I do the wall jump. I count 5 wall jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I get onto this platform right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Watch out that you don't bonk this, because that's really annoying. So maybe you'll need to do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jump up here, jump up here, jump up here, and break your spin. Like, try to ledge grab with a shot if possible here. If you do that, you should be able to just run forward and not worry about missing the door, and also kill both of the pirates. Probably the worst thing that can happen here is that you end up not having enough speed. Okay. So you shoot late, maybe you shoot late and you bonk the door somehow. I swear I've done that before, but maybe not. Maybe I was like shooting early and then I would land. I don't know. I know I've bonked the door before. Another possibility is that you somehow don't have blue here. And that has happened to me in at least one run that was on PP pace. You bonk these guys, right? And then you're probably going to panic if you bonk them. So I'm here to tell you, don't panic. What's going to happen is you bonk, you shoot them, just run forward and these blocks automatically disappear, okay? Oh no. Do a short charge, Shine Spark up. Also, if you're holding shoot coming out of this door, it will automatically prime a shot and kill them. I don't hold shoot coming out of the door because of my control scheme, but maybe your control scheme is more forgiving with that. Pirate bonk happens because not a clean ledge grab. A pirate bonk happens. Pirate bonk happens? Dude, I don't know. I don't know, okay? But it's happened to me before. It has happened to me before. Like I said, try and do a ledge grab by breaking spin with a shot here. That's technically optimal, I think. Okay? Alright. Now, the infamous Behemoth Spark. There are a few ways this can go bad. Maybe you try to spark from too far left, and you bonk there. Maybe you try to spark from too far right, and you bonk somewhere else, right? But most likely what's going to happen, you want to spark right around here. It's pretty forgiving. You will never bonk anything if you do it right around here, unless what can happen is if you do a first frame Shine Spark from your crouch, that can happen. And the reason that happens is because what is happening is Samus, rather than doing an angle spark from the floor, does a crouch jump and then sparks. Even if you're holding R that entire time, if you do a first frame spark from your down press, that's what she does. She does a crouch jump and then sparks up to the right. So you can be aggressive with this if you want, but if you're worried about making sure that you don't bonk, just take a second. Take a second after you crouch. Make sure that Samus is indeed pointing her arm cannon up to the right, and then push jump. If you're standing, that's fine too. A standing Shine Spark will have you bonk this platform. A crouching Shine Spark will have you go all the way up to the ceiling. They're about the same. Bonking this platform gives you the opportunity to do a speedy jump from this platform up through the door, and it's really fast, but it's also really hard. It's like frame perfect or something. So I prefer to Shine Spark all the way up to the ceiling. Another thing is you want to make sure that if you are holding R the entire time like I do, when you charge your Shine Spark, make sure that you're not releasing forward first, or this is what happens, okay? And maybe you just decide that you don't want to do the Behemoth Spark. You can just come all the way over to the right. Just make sure that you don't do a crouch jump. Crouch jump, Shine Spark up, or that will happen. I wonder if that happens everywhere. Yeah. So, make sure that you do a standing up spark there. Alright. Hold. I like to hold angle up, left, and then you can just hold shoot, but you can just time a shot too. And then ideally, the fastest thing you can do is a speedy jump up through here. But like I said in the last segment, that can make getting around this pretty hard. So you can also release dash after you know that you're going to land, and then just do a regular spin jump up here. And you should always be able to make it onto the right side of the platform. It's just a little slower. Alright, parlor during the escape. There was a long time that I was not used to how to do this run, or this room, and I would like lose time because I didn't have a plan. So we're just going to go over this quickly. Wall jump off the right side of this platform. If you feel like you are going to be unable to do that because you're going to bonk, you can land and do a speedy jump onto the middle platform, or you can land and do a wall jump off of that platform. You can also skip. You can also, like, if you're not sure, you can hold right and hope, right? But ideally, you want to wall jump off that platform, ledge grab here on the middle, and do a speedy jump up to this platform, ledge grab here on the left. Okay. From here, you have two options. You can either do a speedy jump up and wall jump there, here on the left. That's pretty easy. Or you can do, I think it's like a 2-frame window. You can do a speedy jump and do a wall jump off this, here on the right, and then on the left. So like this. Okay. Either way, after you wall jump off this, you want to, is it a ledge grab? Man, rooms like this are so hard to do when you break it down like that. Okay, so you want to wall jump here and ledge grab here. I mentioned this in another one of my segments, but these platforms are really deceiving in where the hitbox actually starts and ends. So I prefer personally to do a down grab like this, but it's really up to you. That's why I also do a down grab on this one. Once you get up here, jump up here, ledge grab here, ledge grab here. Okay. This next part is probably the most frustrating part of the escape in 100%. Because when you screw attack, you lose your iframes. Right? So maybe you're like doing this and you're like, I am going to jump over this mound. And then, you know, you like land early and then you hit steam, and then you land and then you hit steam, and then you hit more steam, and it all just sucks. What I like to do is go for a mock ball. I go for a mock ball right here because I've found, on average, there's steam coming out right here more often than not for me in my escapes. I don't know why. But you can Keigo mock ball through this steam. I'm not going to be able to show it, but basically you can Keigo mock ball through the steam all the way across the platform, and then you can just unmorph and run through the door. Alternatively, something else that I found recently, you can do a jump morph, like this, And if you don't get steamed the way that we are on this time, you'll actually kind of make it like all the way across. Oh, that worked actually. And then you can just run through the door. You'll have less run speed entering the door, so you'll lose a little time in the next room, but it's pretty awesome. And then, of course, you can just ledge grab and run forward. Shoot the door. Oh, hey, got steam. If you happen to hit steam right here, which can happen a lot. Let's see if I can show it. I think we have iframes still. But basically, you can do a one tap short charge, and if you do it correctly, most likely you'll avoid a second bonk. Like that. Please game. Okay. It's not 100% consistent, especially if you, for example, don't do your one tap quite correctly. But yeah. And then, of course, the very end of the game, you want to just aim for the middle of the ship as much as you can. Oh, that's me not doing a one tap there. See how we're bonking twice? So, yeah, one tap is good. Aim for the middle of the ship. Make sure that you are stationary, so the best thing you can do is hold R or L so you stop on a dime. And then push down to enter your ship. And that's it, you guys. That is frickin' 100% in a like 20-something hour tutorial, I think. So, in the practice ROM, the game will crash if you let the ship leave Zebus. Keep that in mind. And if you're unlucky, okay, thankfully I'm lucky. If you're unlucky, it will actually wipe all the save data, including your save states. So, all right, that is that's it, you guys. This helps a lot of people. I hope it helps a bunch of people get into 100%, because 100% is awesome. It's the best freaking category ever.